Oh, sidestep, Clark. Sick! Clark quickly. A dime! Mitchell the lane! 7-0. Indiana run.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Now that is a basketball game. That is exactly what Indiana Fever fans have been waiting to see. Thank God the Fever bounced back, because honestly, they needed this one. They absolutely needed this one. For the last week, it felt like every conversation around the Indiana Fever was negative. Every headline was negative, every debate was negative. Everybody was questioning the team, questioning the coaching staff, questioning Caitlin Clark, questioning the front office, and questioning whether this team was actually as good as people thought they would be. And then they come out and put together a performance like this. I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm not saying they suddenly look like championship favorites. But what I am saying is they finally looked like a basketball team that remembered who they are. The funny thing is that if you look at some of the advanced numbers and shot quality metrics, the Indiana Fever probably shouldn't have won this game by as much as they did, yet somehow they ended up winning comfortably. And that's because certain players stepped up when the game mattered most. Let's start with Caitlin Clark, because this is the version of Caitlin Clark that Fever fans have been begging to see. Look, I don't care that she shot 6 for 17. I really don't. People are going to look at the box score and immediately focus on the shooting percentage. That's what people do. But basketball is about so much more than shooting percentages. Caitlin Clark impacted every aspect of this game. She scored, she defended, she rebounded, she pushed the pace, she created opportunities for teammates, and maybe most importantly, she competed. The effort level was unbelievable. There were moments where she was getting hammered driving to the basket. There were moments where she couldn't buy a whistle. There were moments where she was visibly frustrated, but she kept attacking, she kept fighting, and eventually that effort started paying off. What really stood out to me was the defensive side of the ball. I honestly think this was the best defensive game Caitlin Clark has played in her professional career. Not one of the best, the best. Rhyne Howard is one of the most talented offensive players in the league, and when Caitlin Clark was on the floor, Rhyne Howard struggled to get anything going. She wasn't comfortable, she wasn't getting clean looks, she wasn't controlling the game. The moment Caitlin left the floor, Rhyne Howard suddenly starts hitting shots. That isn't a coincidence. That's effort, that's focus, that's commitment, and that's exactly what Fever fans want to see. Now let's talk about the Atlanta Dream, because this was not their finest hour. The Dream simply did not play well. 6 of 21 from three-point range, missed opportunities everywhere, bad possessions, poor execution, and honestly, they never seemed fully comfortable. Angel Reese managed to get a double-double, but it wasn't exactly a dominant performance. There were moments where she looked solid. There were moments where she looked frustrated. There were moments where she struggled against the physicality Indiana brought. Jordan Canada battled all night long. I thought she took a beating physically. Rhyne Howard never really found a rhythm. Alicia Gray couldn't get shots to fall. Naz Hillman struggled. But overall, this was a rough game for Atlanta. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever kept finding answers, and nobody provided more answers than Kelsey Mitchell. Let's be honest, Kelsey Mitchell was the player of the game. No debate, no discussion, no argument. Kelsey Mitchell was sensational, especially during that third quarter. There are certain stretches in basketball where a player gets so hot that everybody else should simply get out of the way. That was Kelsey Mitchell. The Dream grabbed momentum, the Dream started making a push, the Dream took the lead, and suddenly Kelsey said, enough. She started scoring from everywhere. Pull-up jumpers, transition opportunities, tough shots, big shots, momentum-changing shots. And my favorite sequence was when she got the steal, pushed the ball up the floor, ignored the safer option, pulled up for three, and buried it. That's the kind of shot that makes coaches nervous. But when you're cooking, like Kelsey Mitchell was cooking, you live with it. Because sometimes great players make great plays. And Kelsey Mitchell was absolutely incredible. The bench also deserves some recognition. Lexi Hall didn't fill up the stat sheet, but she played her role. She made winning plays, she hit free throws, she stayed ready. KK Timpson brought energy. That's what KK Timpson does. Every time she gets an opportunity, she competes. Raven Johnson had some defensive struggles, but offensively, she made some huge plays, and that clutch three-pointer was massive, absolutely massive. Then there's Maya Hines-Allen. What a performance. What an absolute monster. She played with physicality. She played with confidence. She played like somebody who wasn't afraid of anybody. I've watched Angel Reese overpower players before. I've watched Angel Reese dominate physical matchups. But Maya Hines-Allen was giving it right back. She wasn't backing down. She wasn't moving. She wasn't intimidated. She brought toughness all night long. Sophie Cunningham also deserves credit. When Indiana needed shot making, Sophie Cunningham delivered. She knocked down shots, she spaced the floor, she played with confidence. And those contributions matter. Aaliyah Boston was huge as well. Some people are going to focus on the fouls. Some people are going to debate which calls were legitimate and which weren't. That's fine. But what matters is that Aaliyah Boston made winning plays. When Indiana needed baskets, she delivered. When Indiana needed toughness, she delivered. When Indiana needed leadership, she delivered. That's what great players do. But I keep coming back to Caitlin Clark because this performance felt different. Not because of the scoring, not because of the statistics, because of the overall impact. There was one possession where she blew past Jordan Canada and created chaos. Another possession where she attacked and forced the defense to collapse. Several possessions where she created open opportunities that never showed up as assists. If this were a FIBA game, she probably finishes with double-digit assists. That's how much she was creating. And that's why box scores don't always tell the full story. Some people only watch numbers. Basketball fans watch games. And if you watched this game, you saw Caitlin Clark affecting everything. Then came that sequence, the one-legged shot, the isolation against Ryan Howard, the confidence, the swagger, the immediate assist to Kelsey Mitchell on the next possession. That sequence completely changed the energy of the game. Atlanta looked like they were gaining momentum, then suddenly Indiana flipped the switch. And once they flipped that switch, there was no going back. That's why this win feels important, because it comes after weeks of drama, weeks of criticism, weeks of speculation. You've got people talking about Caitlin Clark, you've got people talking about Stephanie White, you've got people talking about Lynn Dunn, you've got people creating narratives every single day. And sometimes the best response isn't a press conference. Sometimes the best response isn't social media. Sometimes the best response is simply winning basketball games. That's exactly what happened here. The Indiana Fever went out there and handled business. And for the first time in a while, the conversation can actually be about basketball. Not controversy, not drama, basketball. Good basketball, winning basketball. The kind of basketball that Fever fans have been waiting to see. And honestly, one of my favorite moments happened after the game. Watching Stephanie White react, watching the emotion, watching the excitement, watching the connection between coach and player. You can tell everybody wants this to work. You can tell Caitlin Clark wants this to work. You can tell Stephanie White wants this to work. You can tell the Indiana Fever want this to work. And performances like this are how you get there. Not perfection, progress. That's what this game represented. Progress. So congratulations to the Indiana Fever. Congratulations to Kelsey Mitchell. Congratulations to Caitlin Clark. Congratulations to Aaliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, Maya Hines-Allen, Lexi Hull, KK Timpson, and Raven Johnson. This was a complete team effort. This was a statement win. And most importantly, this was fun. This was good basketball. This was good hoops. And after everything that's happened over the last few weeks, that's exactly what everybody needed to see. What a game. What a performance. And what a response from the Indiana Fever. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you think this was Caitlin Clark's best all-around game of the season? Do you agree that Kelsey Mitchell was the player of the game? And do you think this win could be a turning point for the Indiana Fever moving forward? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another upload. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.